Good morning, everyone. We are here for our daily drop-in morning show with the Teach Better team. I have Brad Hughes with me. Brad, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great, Ray. Great to be with you this morning. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling so good. I cannot believe still. I think I'm still in shock. The daily drop-in is starting again. We are going live every single morning, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern to cheers you in the morning, tell you wonderful news, talk shop, take some questions, and then wish everybody a fabulous rest of their day. We are live every single morning, Monday through Friday, but this one's special because we have Brad Hughes. So we're about to get started here. If you are popping in, please start us off in the comments. Say hello. Tell us where you're watching from. We'd love to hear also what time zone you're in. We know this is early. We are 6 a.m. Central, 7 a.m. Eastern. And if you are listening to this after the fact on the Teach Better Talk podcast, then good morning or good afternoon, depending on when you're listening. And we have some good conversation ready for y'all today. So let's get started. All right, guys, I think we need to start our morning with our morning daily drop-in cheers. Good morning, Brad. Good to see you. Good to see
Cheers.
you. Are you ready for this morning's daily drop-in conversation? We already have so much going on in the comments of people being very excited that you're here.
I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to get our conversation started. I love the segments. I love the new opportunities it's going to bring with new guests and new insights. But above all, it's the opportunity to interact with the amazing Teach Better family right there in the comments. It's amazing.
I know, it's so fun. I do love, if we're going to be live every single day, Monday through Friday, I do love that this isn't just about the people on screen talking, right? This truly is a live morning show, no matter where you're watching from. If you're watching us live, feel free to interact, throw your comments in. We know all of you are drinking coffee and brushing your teeth, and we appreciate you, and we're thrilled to be a part of your new morning routine as we kick off the new school year. By the way,
And if
Brad,
someone is able to drink coffee and brush their teeth at the same time, you might want to snag them as a guest, because that is a can't miss opportunity.
okay, but the worst is brushing your teeth and then drinking orange juice. Have you ever done that?
I think orange juice flavored toothpaste is something that we need to put out into the world, Ray.
Absolutely not. That sounds terrible. Ugh, terrible. Also, Brad, I love your shirt. I love your shirt.
Thank you very much. Courtesy of the Teach Better Swag Shop.com.net.org. I love this shirt, and I love the Teach Better swag because it allows me to share my passion for Teach Better with especially people at my school. I'll often wear my Teach Better shirts to school and spark conversation and feel a lot of support from our staff and our school district for the work of the team.
I love it. And also, I just think it's so funny. Yesterday were previewing that you were coming live with us. Jeff and I were live yesterday morning.
Yeah.
And we were talking about you. You're involved in so many different pockets of the Teach Better team. And all of those little pockets have their own exclusive swag. And then there's the general swag store that everybody has access to. I mean, I just want to warn everybody, you don't have to buy all the swag, guys. It's really fun to have a good t-shirt, but some of you go overboard. I know who's it, Nikki, that owns every shirt in there. It's amazing.
I think Nikki's made it a mission to own every piece of Teach Better swag, and hey, why not?
I know. I love it. Well, I just want to go on record. Joshua Stamper on our team manages all of our swag, and his artistic background is incredible. For those of you who aren't connected to Josh or know his background with everything that he's done in education thus far, he was an art teacher before he became an assistant principal. And the fact that he was an art teacher and has incredible art skill to create swag, I always am so excited. There is daily drop-in swag now. So head over to teachbetter.com. You can go grab that. Josh did a great design for our morning show that I think, Brad, I think I'm baffled that we're doing this again. I'm so excited.
It's baffling and exciting. I mean, something that really is one of the hallmarks of Teach Better team, in my experience, is just the spirit of innovation. And it's the willingness to say, why not? Hamish Brewer would say that too to his staff members when they came forward with a fantastic idea. Hey, why not? Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen and learn from it. And this is the focus of our week this week is learning from new opportunities and getting new initiatives in motion.
Oh, I love that. I think it's so important. It actually goes along with our theme this week of like, hey, why not? If you have the ability to try something new or take on a new idea, that's been our theme, and it will be for the rest of our week, kind of like incorporating a new idea, some strategies on how to do that effectively. But sometimes it really is as simple as, well, why not? Just try something new. Why not?
Right.
Yes. I do think Alex is trying to cause controversy. We are only 5 minutes into our live segment, especially if you're watching live with us, then good morning. If you're listening to this after the fact on Teach Better Talk podcast, then I just want you to know this comment says, sorry, Ray, but I'm going to have to disagree with you. There's no such thing as too much swag.
Alex specializes in causing what I'd call necessary trouble. He is really adept at sparking conversation and pushing conversation forward in ways that make people think and kind of expand. And hey, if you don't have an expansive perspective on Teach Better swag, I don't know. I feel sorry for you.
For everyone who's watching, don't forget to always share our stream. We are currently streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. We are constantly trying to uplift, support, and inspire educators with our daily drop-in. Obviously, take your questions, do everything that we can to support you. So feel free to share this stream if you could take a second and do that as we all are enjoying our morning coffee. Brad, I'm looking at Adam's comment here. He says, on my way to a conference with Ron Clark, have an awesome day. Brad, have you ever seen Ron Clark speak? He's one of my favorite educators.
He's one of my favorites to read, Ray. I've never seen him speak, but I can only imagine that his books are just filled with inspiration. And something that really characterizes Ron Clark is that he speaks from experience. I mean, he illustrates what he believes about education through experience, and I can just only imagine. I'm jealous of Adam and excited to hear how that conference goes for him.
It's so fun. Yeah, I've actually been to his school, the Ron Clark Academy. Yeah. I want to say, and I apologize, I might be off by one, but like 4 times. And one of my, maybe more than that, 5. One of my favorite experiences was going, by the way, with somebody in the comments who said they just shared this feed on Facebook, it looks like. But Jody was somebody that I was able to go to RCA with. It was so much fun.
Fantastic.
And then I actually loved it. They did a competition. I hope they continue it now, hopefully when things are safe enough to do so. But they did a competition where we were able to bring students to RCA. And students competed against each other in like a business etiquette competition. It was so much fun. I was able to bring a number of staff members with me and a number of students. So I do love experiences where we can learn from other educators. And Ron Clark, along with Kim Bearden, who founded the Ron Clark Academy, good people. I truly think that is a huge element of building the foundation of what I believe in as an educator. Agreed.
And I think we're seeing a real and hopefully irreversible shift in education where no longer do we need to work in isolation. Should we feel that we are working in isolation? It's a connected world. We can be connected through, Teach Better Talk. We can be connected through Daily Drop-In. We can be connected on any kind of social network. And what I love is authors like Ron Clark are opening their doors literally and figuratively in terms of providing resources. So the community spirit's alive and well here at Teach Better, but I think in general, education is moving in that direction where we're connected and we're better because of it.
Oh, Brad, I couldn't agree more. And that segues us perfectly. It's like you were reading my mind of where we were headed for our morning daily drop-in. As you guys know, our daily drop-in happens every single morning at 7 a.m. Eastern. But we have new guests, new people joining us. We also have new segments every single day that you can pay attention to. We are going to move into our good news for the morning. But Brad, I wanted to start off first. You mentioned being a connected educator. Will you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got connected to the team? Because we haven't gotten to that yet this morning.
I sure will. I've been connected to the team for about, since about April of 2020, shortly after the pandemic was declared and shortly after school closures. I was looking for resources to motivate and to support our staff as they shifted from, the typical classroom setting to distance learning, which was brand new for everyone. And I happened to find the Teach Better team, and I believe it was a daily drop-in, was my first experience to get to know some of the members of the team. And what really hooked me was the combination of like authenticity, service, and fun. And everything that Teach Better provides, those three threads are woven through everything. And so I just kept coming back. And so I found, I was looking for resources to support our staff and our kids, but I ended up finding tons of support and opportunity for myself as a school leader and somebody who's committed to lifelong learning myself. So it's been a wonderful adventure. It was actually a year ago. It might have been on this very day, Ray, that you and I had a daily drop-in from right here. So I'm coming to you from my RV, our trailer, parked on Lake Huron in Ontario. And I joked a year ago that I was waiting for hair and makeup to come by. They still haven't come by.
That's so weird. I sent them a year ago. It was a long trip.
I've been sitting here for a year now, and I keep reaching out. But anyway, long story short, Teach Better has added so much to my capacity as a school leader. It's added so much to my enjoyment of what I do, and I'm really grateful for opportunities like this, and blogging and podcasting, and it's really hitting all of the wish list items on Brad Hughes's bucket list. So here we are.
Brad, I can't believe that you were connected during Daily Drop, and I feel like I've known you for years, because that really puts it in perspective. I think a lot of our network, our family, the Teach Better team's been around for a little over 6 years, and a lot of our family, we kind of saw this big wave come in when COVID, really hit our teachers in a way that nobody expected. And so when we started the Daily Drop-In, it truly was the Monday. It was like March 15th or March 16th of 2020 when we said, how do you support educators during a pandemic? And the only solution we could come up with, we could throw so much content at everybody, but it really was to try and be available. And whether it was available for humor, available for a little bit of inspiration, available to connect you with somebody else, or available to just brainstorm with you whenever you needed it, that was kind of our mission. And we did Daily Drop-In every morning for the rest of that semester. Kind of took a break over the summer, and then people were like, bring it back. And we brought it back for 2 segments later that fall, one to kind of kick off back to school and the other for that winter break segment. But I'm so thrilled that now, a little over a year later, as we've gone through this experience, we can bring it back full time Monday through Friday, because I really felt like this was a safe space to say good morning, just like Jillian is in the comments right now. Say good morning and really just like start off your day with some good vibes. You know what I mean, Brad? Just like good people, good discussion, safe space.
Teach Better Daily Drop-Ins happened at a time when people were hungry for something to look forward to, because the world was changing rapidly and with dire consequences for community health and safety. And that, to me, Ray, is where the authenticity thread fits right in. Is Teach Better team made a decision to meet the people that they cared about and wanted to support where they are. So you're right. It's not about pushing content or guessing what people might need. It's about showing up and being present with intentionality. So, I mean, we're here, we're present, we're available, and we're here with the intention of connecting and leaving we want to make sure everyone is leaving feeling a little bit better than when they tuned in. And that was the thread through the daily drop-ins through COVID. And we're back, and that's our goal. It's still to leave people with a great energized jumpstart to their day, and to feel better that they came and tuned in.
Well, and I'm so excited, Brad, that you're going to be a staple in our daily drop-in. Starting in a few weeks, you'll be a part of our Friday segment every single week. So we're not getting rid of you. And you're involved in so many elements of the team. There's so many different perspectives you can speak from, not only as a full-time educator, as a full-time principal, but also as a member of our mastermind, as a podcaster, as a blogger, as an ambassador. I mean, there's so many ways that you've gotten involved. And so I can't wait to dive in. This will be really good. Are you ready to get to some good news, Brad? I feel like this is a segment that was kind of inspired by you. Are you ready for some good news?
I am always ready for some good news.
All right, let's get started. Okay, for those people who don't know you, Brad, why is good news something that fits with you so well? Tell us.
Uh, in January of 2020, I launched the Good News Brad News podcast. So we're on summer break right now. We have 21 or 23 episodes in the bank, and you can visit those on Teach Better Podcast Network. But good news is what I'm all about. It's about finding the good. It's about sharing the good. It's about finding the silver linings, but not in a way that diminishes, the difficulties that people are going through. I think it can be and. Yes, things can be challenging, and we can acknowledge that they're hard, and we can also find the good. So I'm excited about being part of the Good News, Brad News podcast and sharing good news with you.
Well, and I'm thrilled that podcast is a part of our Teach Better Podcast Network. I am seeing a lot of comments like Alex is right here, where they really, really enjoy that your podcast has such good news in it, but also it's more than fluff, right? We always joke like fluff ain't enough. And the discussions that you're able to have to really dive into those topics is so important. Brad, I won't lie to you. I feel like this segment should always be sponsored by your podcast. I feel like we're starting this thing like, oh, good news segment, guys. But the reality is, like, in my mind, I'm thinking this is Brad's podcast episode that we're just throwing right here. So I love that you're a part of this morning's discussion.
Me too. And I want to let you know that.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I want to let you know that how much I was looking forward to this good news segment and the opportunity to partner with the Teach Better Podcast Network through that, and with Josh Westamper and Jeff Gargas as well has been wonderful. So yeah, let's dig in.
Yeah, this morning's article is all sports, and we're going away from the Olympics, which don't worry, guys. I know the Olympics is still going on. We'll continue to celebrate. Brad, are you a baseball fan?
I sure am. Yep. Toronto Blue Jays are the team I follow. I also love the LA Dodgers. I have since I was a kid. So yeah, I've got my feet in both leagues.
Well, this is about a team that I feel like people either love or hate. So we won't discuss our team rivalries, but this is about a Yankees fan. I read this article last week, and I was really excited to bring it to this morning's show. At the age of 70, a Yankees fan gets to live out her dream of being a Batgirl 6 decades after the team denied her after applying to be a Batgirl for the team. They were able to bring her on. This was a really, really wonderful story about Gwen. She's 70 years old, and she's always wanted to be a New York Yankees Batgirl. And at the time when she applied, they only allowed men to have the role. And yet, finally, years later, 70 or 60 years later, it looks like, after that application, they were able to bring her on for a game. Did you catch that story, Brad?
I sure did. And it just goes to show, Ray, that customer service, or at least community service, is alive and well in so many organizations, big and small. It also goes to show that it's never too late to correct an oversight. And yeah, it's great and positive PR for the Yankees, and I think good on them. But it also, again, at the heart, it's about making a difference to that one individual and about providing a moment of inspiration. That whether you're 7 or 70, it's never too late to offer a life-changing moment or to make a life-changing memory. And I was really inspired by that story too.
Brad, I really love this segment of bringing good news stories, because it's not only about bringing a good news story to somebody who might be brushing their teeth during the daily drop-in, but also bringing a good news story that you can then hopefully bring to your children, your students, your staff members as a discussion point for the day, as something that you can mention in conversation, or as you can actually dive into to kind of have a little bit more of a deeper understanding of that concept. Brad, how would you bring this to a group of students? What would be the focus that you would take on that?
When we shifted to distance learning, Ray, we got in the habit of providing a daily morning newsletter called Good Morning Forest Hill, almost like a morning show that came to your email. We always began with a smile of the day, whether it was usually a funny cartoon or a meme with a crazy principal joke in there. But as we got into the meat of the newsletter, there was a lot of information that we needed to sift and sort. We always ended with, and now for some good news. And what I was able to do was try to be intentional about selecting good news stories that would be inspiring to our educators, but also that they could shift and pose questions or challenges to students. And so I got in the habit of selecting stories where it featured kids as innovators, kids as creators, kids who are coming up with solutions to real world problems, kids that are coming up with ways to meet the needs in a community, whether it's through service or through charity or through just being a good neighbor. And then what I would try to do is to provide a prompt for the educators to say, how could kids make a change? How could your students make a change in their community? Or how would your students design an answer to this problem? Or the other thing I try to do is to get at what makes our kids unique individuals in the world. Getting to know more about our communities, our languages, our cultures, our faiths, sparking that conversation, and it's something, providing something that teachers could share with their kids immediately in their Google Classrooms and to spark conversation.
Well, and depending on the age group, a lot of these stories can be taken in different directions. You could also connect it to the content that you teach. I mean, there's so many different avenues. You could truly choose to step away from your maybe specific content as an educator that you need to focus on for that segment of time, and truly just focus on the story, have elements that you can pull out, themes that you can pull out. I love your focus earlier in your evaluation of the story, sharing that there's never enough time that can go by where it's not appropriate to correct an oversight. I think that could be an incredible conversation. But you can have a conversation about this at a lower grade level, at a kindergarten, first grade discussion. And you can also bring this to a high school class and be able to discuss that as well. I mean, there's so many different avenues to just this one story that the options are endless in my mind.
You could also draw in a lot of literature, whether it's a picture book or a young adult novel. The more you can connect different media and opportunities, you're providing students with different opportunities and to take different perspectives and to see things from a lot of different points of view. Or if you're really trying to get at that aspect, say, of community service or correcting an oversight, if you can provide some different layers of how that looks in different people's experiences using literature or other media, then so much the better.
Yeah, my background is in middle level education. And so I always think like, how would I use this with my 11-year-olds, right? My sixth grade math students. And one of the things that I would have loved to do is incorporate a good news segment of our advisory time, right? Our students were meeting every single day for 20 minutes to talk shop, reset for the day. We do some SEL incorporation. And I love the concept of being able to bring a good news segment into that. We did so many, even especially during COVID, so many circles where students were sitting in a circle and we would discuss something. What a cool spin to that, to be able to bring a good news story to that group and then have everybody share their perspective or have an open discussion in that circle format. I think that would work for so many different classes. So I love that we're able to bring this segment to all of you, but I hope that you guys continue to update us on how you're using these good news stories or how it's even impacting you as a person getting ready for your day, to think through kind of our future uses that we can suggest to other audience members as well.
Now, Ray, imagine getting that foundation started where your class is sharing good news stories on the reg. And now imagine turning that power and potential over to the kids and saying to the students, your mission is to be a good news detective. Be on the lookout for good news in our neighborhood, in our community, on the internet, in your media, and bring it forward, because then they are taking ownership and leadership for leading conversations that are founded on good things happening. Let's face it, we have long and strong memories for the worst things that have happened to us and the worst things that are happening in our communities. Let's shift the conversation. Let's put kids in the driver's seat of finding and then sharing forward the good news, and then they can be facilitating the same conversations that we educators are doing too.
Yeah, I would love to see that. And I think, as we continue to develop our daily drop-in morning show that happens every single morning, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern. And also you can catch the recaps either on the social media platforms that we stream on, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, or you can catch the recording on Teach Better Talk podcast every single day as an episode. But in addition to that, I'd love to find a way for people to submit their good news, like that we can not only be highlighting, articles on the Today Show, but also be highlighting articles of people that are telling us of wonderful things that are going on in their communities, in their schools, and in their lives. I think that would be so fun to get started with. Brad, we could do that, right? We could do that.
Oh, it's already done. I've got I've got our Crack Daily Drop-In intern team working on it right now. Yeah, it's ready.
Love it. One place that all of you can submit questions live for us to share our insights, brainstorm with you, is the Teach Better Daily Drop-In Brainstorm Bank. We are going to move into that segment right now, so stick with us. So Brad, for our brainstorm bank, this is a place where people can submit questions. They can submit a question a day. They can submit 15 questions at once, and they get to share questions where they want something to be discussed. These could be questions about classroom or leadership or kind of like the entire ecosystem of a school, anything related to the Teach Better team. All they need to do is go to teachbetter.com/brainstorm bank to share their questions, their question with us, and we'll be able to discuss it. I think this will be kind of a fun spot where people can not only share their thoughts in the comments, but really just kind of pour into, here are some concepts that I'd love to be discussed on the show and get some ideas for.
Let's get real about this brainstorm bank. You make a deposit to the bank, and then we get to return it to you with compound interest, with lots of different perspectives, and a little financial literacy action here on a Tuesday morning. But a brainstorm bank is going to be a huge engine of connection, community, and also inspiration for helping people move forward on what's on their mind. It reminds me a little bit of our Teach Better Admin Mastermind, where on any given week, school leaders and others that are involved in leadership in schools bring forward a question and leave with lots of different ideas. And then ultimately, you're in charge of figuring out what ideas work for you. But it's always great to leave with a new collection of ideas when you want to move forward.
Well, and it's interesting you say that, Brad. That's exactly what the mindset was as we were developing this segment during our Daily Drop-In show. Daily Drop-In essentially started as a live brainstorm bank where people could throw in their questions and we could discuss them. But to be honest, and you could even go back and listen to all these episodes if you're tuning in for the first time now. But to be honest, sometimes there were so many questions that we couldn't get to them, or the comments were moving so quickly. You miss one. And so while we do want you commenting live, you're always welcome to bring new ideas and questions to us. This is kind of a spot that if we're not able to discuss your question the day you submit it, we're able to get to it later that week or later that month. Every single week within the Daily Drop-In, we'll have kind of an overarching theme. The theme for this week is about implementing new ideas, kind of strategies on how to do that. And so I think teachbetter.com/brainstorm bank is going to allow each and every one of you to kind of house your questions to ensure it's discussed on the show so that we can get you support, whether it be learning about the Teach Better team. Maybe you want to know, about Brad's haircut. And you want to make sure that you use the same barber as he does, or you want to learn about Jeff Gargas's new puppy, which we're all huge fans of, or you can ask questions about the classroom or leadership or anything else that you want to discuss. So I'm really excited for this segment. I think it's a good spot.
It's going to be a great spot, and it's also an opportunity for you and for me, or for anybody who is guesting, to really reflect on practice. And also we get better by reflecting on practice, and it's rare in education. It can be rare when we have an opportunity to reflect our practice and to share our thinking in a vulnerable but also a really awesome and improvement focused way. So we get changed by it too, right?
I love it. Yeah, I'm really excited by this. So if you're listening right now, you're welcome. Whether you're to submit your questions, whether you're here with us live or listening to this after the fact as an episode of Teach Better Talk podcast, simply head to teachbetter.com/brainstorm bank. It doesn't ask for a lot of your information, to be completely transparent. You literally just throw your question in. I think it can even be anonymous if you're not looking to submit your information. And we just want to create a safe space for you to get some answers. And we specifically didn't call it the answer to all bank or the solutions bank. We wanted to keep it as a space of brainstorming, whether it be the people on the screen giving you resources, or even people in the comments sharing their thoughts and opinions. We wanted to create a space for people to discuss. So
I'm laughing because I'm thinking the answer to all things podcast or the answer to all things daily, that must be on another network, because this is the bring your answers and bring your questions and we'll figure it out together. And if we don't figure it out together, we're going to keep trying. That's the thing about starting any new initiative, is that it's it's just start. Just start with a small step. Small is powerful. Small is beautiful, and learn from it and learn through it and network on it too.
Well, and that's a good point, Brad, that I really struggled with for a long time. And I think I finally gotten to the acceptance mode of this mindset, where I thought that you were considered successful when you were able to answer every question, right? When you were able to be the person that people could go to and you would have the answers, right? You would be the expert. And I thought that to be an expert, it meant that somebody could come to you about a topic and you would give them the solution. And a huge shift, a huge mindset shift that I've really worked on is, it's not about having the answers. It's about being able to brainstorm, to problem solve with them. And sometimes an element of that is to simply connect them with somebody that has more insight, and for you to be just the median in which they were able to connect with that other person. I love that element. I tell people all the time, reach out with your questions, because I probably won't know the answer, but I probably will know somebody who either will or they'll know somebody who will. So it's all about being a connected educator. It goes back to what you were saying earlier in this daily drop-in segment.
Sometimes, Ray, having the answer it brings a little bit of peace of mind to someone. So if there's a piece of critical information that really affects, that individual ability to take the next step in his or her day, let's find it out. Let's find it out now. But there's a huge amount of pressure I put on myself as a teacher and as an emerging school leader as well, to be the answer guy, to not only be in the know, to demonstrate that I knew what I was doing, but also to have the answer. I kind of figured that was the role of the school leader, was to know it and share it back. But just like you said in your experience, the power is in welcoming questions, and it's in naming the fact that questions, for all of us, whether you're in a leadership position or not, questions signal that others might be seeking the same information. It allows us, like you said, to network on different solutions, and ultimately it allows you to rather than being the person with the answer, it's the person who can help facilitate people to finding their own answer. So in the end, they say, I figured it out for myself, and that, I think that's one true aspect of any supportive role or any leadership role, is making it possible for people to grow and to improve their own outcomes themselves. You just provide a little bit of inspiration and guidance on the side.
It's interesting, Brad. This is kind of more of a personal thing, but I feel like every time I'm talking to you, we're not actually live. We're just like talking shop.
Yeah.
So maybe I shouldn't be talking about this out loud publicly, but I just took on officially, as of yesterday at like 6 p.m., it became official that I took on a role supporting a nonprofit in a more official capacity. And this nonprofit is called the Ames Network. It supports Illinois educators, and specifically Illinois middle level educators. It's like very, very strategic. And one element that they kept focusing on for this position was, Ray, what's your vision for this organization? And I really struggled with this. I'm like, well, I have a lot of great ideas for middle level educators that we could be focusing on. Oh my gosh, there's so many different avenues we can take. And I really kind of sat back and I was like, well, actually, it's not my job to figure out the direction. It's my job to kind of facilitate the questions, facilitate the discussion, foster deep thinking with the board. And then I get to be a part of the execution plan, right? It's not about my role being the way we go. And much like, I assume, a principal, right? It's really about asking the right questions, collecting all the information, and then hopefully being able to provide some direction that we can all move together as a holistic group. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. First of all, congratulations, and second of all, what a fortunate organization to to pose that question to you and to have you respond, we're going to figure this out together. Because whether you're talking about a school community or any kind of community organization, a lot of these organizations are have a history of being top down, of being directive or transmissive in terms of what we're going to accomplish and when and how. And this is part of the shift that we talked about a little bit earlier, Ray, is that now organizations have opportunities to be much more organic. And leadership or people who are facilitating excellence or growth in that organization have the opportunity, and I would even say have the responsibility now of actively involving the membership, whether it's staff members or community members or members of the organization, involving the membership so that we're mobilizing everyone's strengths and everyone grows together. You can see that happening in highly functioning and happy schools where everyone knows and is secure in their strengths, but also everyone knows and is aware of how we are eager to grow. And I often say the answer is somewhere in the building, or the answer is somewhere in our district. Someone has experience in this situation, let's just find it. And so when organizations are transparent, and when you, Ray, as part of the Illinois Middle Educators, as you go forward in leadership and people recognize that they do have a voice and you're eager to know about how they want to grow, and also you're eager to help them do that, then that vulnerability shifts and people are more eager to make that connection and to take that risk and say, I'm eager to grow in this area. How can I do that? And then you can connect them. So good on you and congratulations. And that's, you're right. That speaks to my heart of leadership is doing it together and distributing the opportunities, drawing on people's strengths, and also letting people know that, let's just be honest about where you want to grow and how we can help you do that.
Absolutely. And being open-minded to changing when you get evidence that it's not working. I mean, I think so many components of where I see this nonprofit doing some work within the next few months or within the next 12 months is really looking at what's our vision, what are we working towards? Let's try a few baby steps in that direction. And then let's constantly be evaluating, is this working? And how are we measuring if it's working? As teachers, we do this all day. Like, we do not discuss how a teacher handles elements of the classroom being how everyone else on the planet should be handling every other situation. Like, we pretend that these are two different worlds, but the reality is that the work that educators are doing on a daily basis with their students is how businesses should operate, how parenting can operate, how friendships can operate. Every single element of our life is being strategic, and teachers are constantly, even if we're talking about standards, thinking about their end goal, right? Identifying that standard that they want to work with students on, using the backwards design to evaluate and scaffold how to get there, and then constantly evaluating, is it working? Should I reteach? Should I be, changing up my methodology? And that art right there is a beauty that teachers have a skill set in. I love seeing all the work being done in classrooms.
It's no matter what you're talking about, Ray, it's always about building community, whether we've got a bank. So whether you work in a bank, you work in a financial planning office, you work in a welding shop, you work in a school, you work in a fire hall, it's all about building community. And so everyone becomes more and more aware and aligned, teachers to students or colleague to colleague, about what we want to accomplish together as a community. And as we talked about earlier, leveraging strengths, providing opportunities for growth, and it's the monitoring. So monitoring for me is about monitoring for growth, not monitoring for supervision and gotcha, you weren't doing the right thing. It's about, if you're in a monitoring or supervisory position, it's about coming alongside the people that you serve and letting them know that you're not there to gotcha them if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. You're there to help move them forward so that they, again, at the end, they figure out, I did this on my own. And the monitoring of, monitoring that educators do, that is really the art of educating, is making small but important tweaks moment to moment based on, not just what you're seeing and hearing, but what you're feeling. It's that affective aspect of any classroom where you see that the kids and the educators are connected, connected in a heartfelt way of wanting the best for each other. And I'm certain that you see that in your middle level classrooms, Ray, and as a former middle school vice principal, adolescents have tremendous capacity for service, empathy. I think I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but I think adolescents sort of get a bad rap. There's so much potential for empathy and community service, especially when you can bring them together in a school community. So I'm excited that you continue to get so much satisfaction out of being a middle level educator, Ray, and also you've got an opportunity to provide even more service to others in that capacity. So that's fantastic.
No, it's great. Brad, we are so fortunate in the roles we both have where, we get to be a part of so many incredible projects. Like, I love that my entire world, moment to moment, day by day, as I look at my calendar, is surrounded by people like those of you in the comments. I'm seeing all your comments come through. People in the comments that are doing such wonderful things. And you either get to sit back and kind of watch the magic happen. Sometimes you get to be kind of hands-on and involved in the project that they're working on. But that's always incredible. And it kind of segues beautifully into our theme for this week. Every daily drop-in is going to have some sort of theme of the week, a discussion point that we're going to be focusing on. Obviously, we're going to be taking questions from people and interacting with a number of different elements for daily drop-in. But one of the ones that I'm excited for is kind of having this overarching topic and having 5 different people throughout the week kind of share their perspective. And Jeff Gargis did a great job kicking us off yesterday, focusing on implementing new ideas. And his focus yesterday was, and I know that you were watching as well, was kind of on that first step. When you are thinking about an idea, whether you're implementing this in a classroom, on a building level, at a district level, or one-on-one with a student, when you're implementing something new, the first step is deciding, am I going to go all in and like jump into taking the whole piece, in one big bite? Or am I going to kind of section this out into small little pieces? And we had a really wonderful discussion around the pros and cons that both of those elements have. What are your thoughts on kind of a tip or trick or a strategy that you use or you've seen successful in implementing a new idea? Because it sounds like a lot of people might be doing that this week.
Ray, I think what's key is to name your intention to change and to learn through practice. I was really fascinated by your conversation with Jeff yesterday about jump in or take, little bitty step. Like it doesn't have to be either or. It can be and. Just do one of those things. Gather your courage and dive in, or gather your courage and take that important first step. But what's crucial is to frame those as learning opportunities, not winning or necessarily succeeding opportunities, but learning opportunities. Let's face it, like all life is change, and all that we do in our families, communities, classrooms is about, like we talked about, monitoring, and it's about leading change forward. So implementing new ideas is no different. It's just a matter of name where the need is, figure out what help you need to take that next step, and to position yourself as a learner through the process, and tell people around you, I'm going to be implementing the grid method this semester. It may bomb. It may be a huge success, but I know it's going to be a learning opportunity for all of us. And as an educator, name that to your kids as well.
I love your focus on it being a learning opportunity. I do think that adds kind of like another layer to our conversation from yesterday, which is the whole point of being able to discuss something, right? Like kind of building that perfect deli sandwich throughout the week of things to consider around these themes. When we're talking about implementing a new idea, your focus on it truly being a learning experience, it is about being able to constantly evaluate and reflect throughout that process. So regardless of what direction you choose at any point of your implementation, if you're approaching it as a learner, you're constantly looking through the lens of, is this going well? How is it feeling? I'm going to be reflective, and kind of what's my measurable? I feel like that's been a big buzzword in my world recently, is how are we measuring success? And I found that doing that kind of in a content capacity was a little easier for me to understand. But anytime I was implementing something that wasn't a content topic, it became a little bit more challenging to determine that KPI, right? That measurable that I wanted to continue to be reflecting on. Is this working? How do you think you decide what you should be looking at as your measurable for your new idea to determine, is this going really well or not? Because if you don't have it, then you could get all the way to the end and find that you weren't successful and kind of miss out on that opportunity to fix it along the way. Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yeah, it sure does, Ray. To me, it begins back with the sort of the core of the project is, what are you seeking to change? What are you seeking to? So it's about improvement. So what are you seeking to improve in an educational setting? How is what I'm attempting going to make a difference for kids? Whether it's in their academic achievement, their social and emotional learning, their ability to come together as a cohesive community. What problem am I trying to solve? And so if you can get real clear on what that problem is and then shift it from problem to opportunity. So it could be as simple as I want to sorry, if you frame it as a question, if I blank, then I hope, and then you put the result there. So if I implement small group reading this semester, then I hope that I will see level 1 and level 2 readers moving up a level, something like that. So if I blank, I hope to see blank, and just get clear on what that is. And then I think moving forward with change requires you to be reaching or have reached a tipping point in terms of the learning you've done that's going to allow you to take that next step, and that impetus to actually put it into action. And that can be at a very small classroom level with an individual student or a group of students. It can be at a whole class, or it can be even at a school level where, the educators, the school leader, there's this rumbling that something needs to change. You don't know what it is. So how have other people approached it? You do some research, you figure it out, and then something will click. There will be something that will click with your head and your heart as an educator, that it's essential that we move forward with this change now. Let's define what we want to do, what we hope to see. And it doesn't have to be an all or nothing either, Ray. It can be iterative. So you can start with a small question, and you can start with trying to make a small impact. And then the answer to that question, or the solution that you find, will lead you to refine that initial question. And there's just going to be a process of continued research and growth.
Yeah, something I really like about this, Brad, and again, I love that this daily drop-in morning show is going to allow us to kind of add layers to this theme every single day throughout the week. But you're really discussing, once you determine how you're moving forward, how can you determine if it's working? The next segment, the next element of this that I'd love to touch on now, but even get to later this week with other guests that will be joining us this week, like Amanda and Caitlin and Dave, is to also then look at, and when you find it's not working, that does not mean necessarily that you have to stop. It just means you have to adjust. And there really are so many different ways to choose to adjust. One of them is to discuss it with a colleague. Look, submit a question in the brainstorm bank, at teachbetter.com/brainstorm bank, to bring it to your students and have them share their voice and feedback. I mean, there are so many different ways that once we get the red flag, we can make accommodations. But if we don't plan on how we're going to see those red flags, then we can get too far in and find ourselves frustrated and not feeling like we're achieving what we wanted. But I think that's a really important element.
For sure, Ray. And let's face it, implementing any change puts you in a position of vulnerability. And so as an individual or as a member of a staff team, you're putting yourself out there saying, I'm going to stake my time, energy, and my capacity in making this change. And setbacks hurt. They hurt. They can be discouraging. And as we discussed way earlier in our episode, we have much longer memories for those hurts and setbacks than we do about, what's successful. So part of change management for me is about energy management. It's about reminding yourself and reminding others that you serve that it's going to take energy to implement these changes. And if you encounter a setback, that's exactly just what you said, Ray. It's about making an adjustment rather than just throwing everything out. But we have to recognize that it's our human nature to be discouraged and to want to avoid things that are painful or upsetting. That's just how we're wired. We want to keep ourselves safe. And especially if we're expending a lot of energy and all of the other responsibilities that we have to our students and to our families, to our communities, and you're trying to implement a change. We have to be aware of if we're tipping over the energy balance to the fact where we are quick to become discouraged, dissatisfied, disconnected, then that's the opportune time to just take a beat and to reflect. Okay, remember, I'm going to make a shift. I'm going to make a small shift, and I'm going to rally my network to help me out with that.
Oh, I love this discussion. Thank you to all of you who are participating in the comments. I know that we're seeing some incredible quotes that are being pulled out, people that are agreeing with what you're saying, Brad. We have a question here that we're going to get to in just a second. Remember, the Daily Drop-In is streamed every single morning at 7 a.m. Eastern. We have new guests coming every single week, new themes, new discussions. Please make sure you share that you are watching, share this thread, or take a screenshot and share that you're watching on your favorite social media platforms so we can continue to foster a community that asks these questions, that takes these tips, does some reflection, and then comes back to hopefully us and tells us how it goes. One of the biggest elements, Brad, that I hope people take away today, especially related to our weekly theme of implementing new ideas, is your suggestion about if I do something, then I hope to see this other element happen. You gave a wonderful example earlier on a reading score, right? Really understanding if I'm making this change, why am I doing it? What am I hoping to see? So you can determine that measurable. You know, Alex is asking a question here. It says, Brad, what's the difference between saying if then and if, and then he used the word hope, like you did. Do you think there is a difference, or are these the same things?
I think they're the same things, but I think it's all in the way that you frame it. So I framed it as if hope, Alex, because that's just maybe it's a colloquialism, or maybe it's just something of how I'm wired. But hope, it gives the individual an opportunity to have some wiggle room. And so if you are holding to an if then, and if you're taking a really sort of clinical or research-based approach and that works for you, that's great. For me, if I do X, then Y will occur. Well, if Y doesn't occur, then I hope you have the resilience and you have the capacity to say, okay, Y didn't occur. Why didn't Y occur? Let's go back but for me, the way I'm wired is I hope it will blank. And so then to me, then and hope are the same, but the hope is a wish plus a plan. So I've got a wish, what I desire to see. I've got a plan. This is how we're going to affect the outcome. But also hope gives me some wiggle room that, okay, it didn't quite work out, but it was a hope. Now I'm going to readjust do I need to readjust my wish, my desired outcome? Do I need to readjust my plan? And so, and hope is so, hope is crucial. It's a crucial part of our inner like our inner vocabulary. It's a crucial part of the vocabulary we put out there. So, Alex, I don't think there is a difference. I think it's just how I phrase it and frame it around that idea of a wish plus a plan.
Well, and words have power. You know, Brad, when I saw Alex asking this comment in the question, or this question in the comments today, I was so excited with how you just articulated that, because I do think the difference truly is the element of flexibility, the element of really having like this desire, this wish with a plan. I think that if you go with if then, you're in a good spot. But I loved the phrasing of using a hope, because it does, in my mind, keep me more open-minded. It keeps me, eager to be hunting for, if what I was hoping for didn't occur, is there anything else that I can celebrate that did occur that's positive? And so great point here, Alex, making sure that we not only use language that speaks to us, but also gets us in the direction that we want, which is wonderful. Looks like Andrea is popping in late. I'm glad that you're here, Andrea. Good to see you.
Ray, I was just going to mention too, and Alex, just consider the power, if you're working as a team, from shifting I hope to we hope. Like we hope could be like the ultimate phrase that a team comes together around. Like not just we hope blank, but we hope. We are hopers. We are dealers in hope. We are people that put the best out there, and we try to rally each other and the kids we serve around something greater. So there is power in that, and especially if you're activating the power of team coming together around hope.
I love it. Brad, I know we're wrapping up our daily drop-in morning show for this morning, but don't worry, guys. We are live Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern. And Brad, you were a great guest today, but remember, you are not going to be a guest for much longer. You are going to be a staple feature of our show every single Friday here in just a few weeks. So you are stuck. You're stuck with us. I hate to tell you, but I'm very excited.
I'm really glad. I mean, there's no hate to tell me that anything. This is, like I said earlier today, it is really a fantastic opportunity for me. I've always loved broadcasting. I've always been really entranced by communication and I remember as a kid, I would call into radio shows to try to win prizes, or as a teacher and school leader, I try to incorporate aspects of a visual and audio, and the opportunity to partner with you and with Teach Better team as a staple on the daily drop-in is it. I've got no words. It's a really humbling opportunity too. And as we mentioned earlier, it's an opportunity for me to get clearer and clearer on my purpose and also to grow in my practice in conversation with you and other guests.
Well, we are so excited for what's to come. For this week, what's to come, I want to give a shout out to Amanda, Caitlin Giordano, and Dave Schmitto, who will be joining us as guests for this week. You're going to see a lot of familiar faces this week as we kick off the first week of bringing back our daily drop-in. That will be happening every single morning, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern. After that, we have new guests every single day. But as you heard yesterday, Jeff Gargis will always be our Monday morning kickoff. And in the future, Brad will be our Friday staple, with then a spattering of guests between our week's discussion. This week, which we will continue with, is all focused on not only introducing new segments to each and every one of you as you learn the new format of Daily Drop-In and all the goodness that we're trying to bring to you, but we're also discussing this overarching theme of how do you incorporate, how do you implement new ideas? Because a lot of us are thinking of all the new ideas that we've been brainstorming and what we're going to bring to our classrooms for the fall semester. I will give you a little preview that next week, our overarching theme is back to school communication, which I think is a huge topic that we are all discussing. How is that communication moving in? If you want to discuss these topics with us live, please make sure you join us in the morning, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch at 7 a.m. Eastern. Also, don't forget, you can submit your questions for us to discuss at any point in time at teachbetter.com/brainstormbank. And as always, if you have other questions you want us to discuss, we are always here anytime you want to reach out. But we're trying to create a safe space for each and every one of you to continue to brainstorm and get the support and inspiration you need as you're sipping on your coffee. So, Brad, I know that we are going to end our time today, but I want to personally take a moment to thank you. You are such an incredible friend and guest and just colleague to work with. I can't wait to do this more often. This is kind of like what fuels me. So I appreciate you.
Ray, the feeling is absolutely mutual, and I can't be more excited to join you on a weekly basis starting on August the 20th. And I look forward to building even more connections with our Teach Better family and a stronger connection with you as a friend and a colleague and as a co-host too. I'm beyond excited.
It's so great. For everybody here for our daily drop-in, depending on what time zone you're in, I don't know if you finished your coffee or anything, but spit out your toothpaste. We're going to do one more big cheers. Have a wonderful morning, guys. And we'll see you tomorrow for the daily drop-in with Amanda.